You make it through the whole day. You're warm with the barista, you're on in the meeting, you read the room, you smooth the thing over, you remember to ask your coworker about her mom, you laugh at the right moments. You are, by every external measure, fine, good even. And then you walk through your own front door, and the person you love so very dearly looks up and says, "Hey, how was your day?" And you have absolutely nothing left. Not for them, the one you'd cross an ocean for in a cheesy rom-com declaration of love. You can't even find the sentence to answer the question. You're flat, you're quiet. You need the lights low and the noise off and everyone to just stop needing things from you for one merciful hour. And then they say it, the thing that breaks your heart because you understand exactly why they'd think it. You're so good with everyone else. You save your worst for me. Ugh, it's just not how it feels for you. And today, I'm going to explain why this happens and what to actually do about it. This is the Neurodivergent Love Lab. I'm Jenna Dalton, a psychologist who's ADHD. I help ADHD, autistic, and ADHD women feel truly understood and deeply loved. And this is episode 13, What Masking Costs Your Relationship, and what unmasking can actually look like. Today, I'm going to teach you what masking really is, why women do so much more of it, the specific ways it quietly taxes your relationship, and then the part almost nobody explains. What unmasking actually looks like with the person you love, because it's not what most people fear. And that misunderstanding keeps a lot of women masking in the one place they should finally be able to put it down. So before we dive into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, let's define the word because it gets thrown around a lot. Masking or camouflaging is the constant, mostly invisible work of performing as a neurotypical person. Researchers actually break it into 3 pieces. There's masking itself, actively hiding traits like suppressing a stim, forcing eye contact. There's also compensation, the learned workarounds, pre-scripting conversations, borrowing phrases and mannerisms from other people or characters on TV. And then there's assimilation, forcing yourself to blend even when it's painful, putting yourself in situations that hurt because that's what's expected of you. For many women, this becomes so automatic, so lifelong, that they genuinely lose track of where the performance ends and they begin. And here's the part that matters for you. The research is consistent that women mask more than men, more heavily, more constantly, more successfully. So successfully that it's one of the main reasons we get missed for diagnoses in the first place. Why us more? Because you take a brain that's already working overtime to fit in and you hand it a lifetime of training to be a good girl. Be sweet, be easy, don't make a fuss, read what people need and give it to them before they have to ask. Smile, make everyone comfortable, be good. You bolted a cultural command to disappear your own needs onto a nervous system that was already running a translation app in the background that never turns off. The trouble is, being that good at something doesn't make it effortless. It's actually the opposite. Masking is one of the most expensive things you do. You just pay for it in a way where no one can see the bill. So let's break this up into 2 halves. First, the real cost of masking to you and to your relationship. Then, what unmasking actually looks like and what it isn't. So part 1, what masking actually costs. Let's start with the most basic cost, energy. Every suppressed stim, every forced second of eye contact, every micro decision about how to arrange your face, it all draws from the same battery. And here's the cruel math of a normal day. You spend the whole day out there, in the world, in front of people who will never know what masking is costing you. And you come home empty to the person who gets the least charged version of you. Not because they matter least, but because they came last in line on a day that already drained you dry. Over years, that's not a bad evening. That's a pattern, and it has a name. Burnout due to masking fatigue, pervasive, long-term exhaustion, a loss of skills you used to have, a shrinking tolerance for any stimulation at all, a hopelessness that sinks in when you start to question if this is just your life now. It can cost a person their job, relationships, health. And this kind of burnout isn't something 1 or 2 nights of good sleep can fix. The second cost is the one I talked about at the beginning of this episode, the come home collapse that gets read as withdrawal, or worse, as punishment, like the silent treatment. Your partner sees you light up for everyone else and goes silent for them. And they conclude they're getting your leftovers, your rejection, your worst, when the truth is the exact reverse. They're actually the only safe place for you to finally stop performing and be your authentic self. The shutdown at home isn't you caring less, it's the cost of caring so much about looking good for everyone else all day long. The third cost, and this one's quiet and devastating, you can mask for so long that you lose the thread of your own self. When you've spent decades reading what everyone else needs and becoming it, a simple question like, "What do you want for dinner?" becomes genuinely impossible to answer. "I don't know. What do you want?" You're not trying to be difficult. You spent so long erasing your own preferences to keep the peace that you can't always find them anymore. And a partner cannot meet needs you can no longer locate. The intimacy starves, not because the love isn't there, but because the real you is buried under 30 years of accommodation. There's the fourth cost, a specific flavor of masking that women run more than anyone: fawning. The reflexive people-pleasing, the over-apologizing, the saying yes when every cell is like no, the managing of your partner's mood before you've even checked your own. Fawn is a survival response in the same family as fight or flight. And for a lot of women, it's so automatic, you don't even recognize it as masking, but it is. You become the household's emotional shock absorber, managing everyone's feelings as a way to manage your own dysregulation. There's also a fifth cost, and this is the one that research is most blunt about. Dr. William Dodson, who named rejection-sensitive dysphoria, has a warning I repeat constantly. The people-pleasing coping style breeds resentment and loss of self, and it can painfully generate the very rejection it was trying to prevent. Here's how that works in a relationship. Every time you override your own nervous system to keep someone else comfortable and say nothing about it, a little resentment gets deposited somewhere you can't necessarily see. Not because you're bitter, because you're human and you've been paying a task nobody acknowledges. You've been ignoring your own needs. Eventually, that leaks, usually towards the person standing closest to you, usually the one you love. And the distance that creates can look to them like the rejection you were terrified of all along, pushing them away. The mask built to keep love safe ends up putting it at risk. There's a sixth cost that's so woven into daily life, it's almost invisible, which is essentially the point. Masking isn't only about social performance. For a lot of women, it's also the executive function performance. The lists, the reminders, the over-preparation, the elaborate systems you built to pass as organized, and on top of it. And the research describes how that collides with the cultural assumption that the woman runs the household logistics and the emotional calendar for everyone. So you become the project manager of an entire family's life while also masking the fact that your own brain finds this genuinely hard. From the outside, it reads as, "Oh, she's so capable." From the inside, it's a mental load that you never get to set down, a background hum of, what am I forgetting? What am I missing? A sense of always being one drop ball away from everything collapsing. Your partner sees the capable surface and has no idea there's a second full-time job running underneath it, the job of hiding how much it costs you. I want to name one more cost because it very much matters. The mental health toll of a lifetime of masking is well documented. Studies link higher masking to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and yes, suicidality. And that link appears especially strong for women. I'm not telling that to frighten you. I'm telling you because it's the clearest possible evidence that unmasking is not self-indulgence. For a lot of women, learning to set the mask down at least as often as possible is a genuine act of self-preservation. This is serious, and it's exactly why the rest of this episode matters. So let's dive into part 2, what unmasking actually looks like. Okay, so clearly the answer can't be, well, just keep the mask on forever. That's the road to burnout and a relationship full of disconnection and resentment. But here's where so many women get stuck because they picture unmasking as something terrifying, an all or nothing, huge, ginormous leap. So let me tell you what it actually is and what it isn't. Unmasking is not becoming a different person. It's not letting it all hang out and trauma dumping on your partner the second they walk in. It's not abandoning your social skills or being rude in the name of authenticity. That fear that unmasking means becoming unbearable, too sensitive, too much, is exactly what keeps the mask glued on. So let me be clear. Unmasking is not losing your sense of control. It's gaining a sense of self in a controlled way. Unmasking is small, it's gradual, and it lives entirely on a sense of safety. It's the slow, brave practice of letting just one person see just one true thing at a moment in time. It looks like letting your hands stim while you watch TV instead of freezing them, saying, I need some quiet right now, out loud instead of going cold and hoping they figure it out. Letting your face rest into neutral instead of holding that pleasant good girl smile expression that you don't actually feel. Naming a sensory no, this texture, that sound, that light, I just can't right now. Letting yourself info dump about the thing you love and trusting them to be okay you did or to ask you to stop if they're just not interested. Answering, what do you want? Honestly. Even when the honest answer is, I don't know yet. Just, can you give me a second to find out? And because go slow can sound frustratingly vague, let me give you the real timeline so you're not waiting for a dramatic before and after. That isn't what we're really going for here. Week 1 might just be your leg bouncing on the couch instead of locked still, and you quietly noticing the sky didn't fall. Maybe a few weeks in, you say, can we turn the overhead light off for the first time instead of suffering through it? A month or 2 in, you info dump and catch yourself not apologizing for it. This is not an overnight transformation. It's a slow accumulation of tiny, unremarkable moments where the real you showed up and got to stay. Undramatic, gradual, and absolutely life-changing in a way nobody watching from outside would ever even really notice. It's important I name the fear under all of it because that's the real obstacle, right? The fear is, what if the real me, the unmasked me, is the one nobody can love? You've spent so long believing the performance was the lovable part that letting it drop feels like gambling the whole relationship. I understand that fear. I really do. I've lived that fear myself. I still live it some days. And here's the gentle truth on the other side of it. A partner that only loves the performance is asking you to shrink yourself to fit their idea of what a partner should be, rather than allowing you to expand it to who you really are. Feeling truly understood and deeply loved requires you to slowly and surely become more of who you are with each passing day. And the only way you'll know if they love the real you is by letting that mask go, little by little, letting the truth be seen and you to be able to determine whether they can hold that truth. Here's the reframe I want you to move forward with. When you unmask with your partner, you're not giving them your worst self, you're giving them your whole self, rather than just the shiny parts you believe to be lovable. You drop the mask at home not because you care less, but because home is the one place safe enough to stop holding it all together. That's actually an important sign this is a healthy relationship for you. It's your nervous system saying, with you, I don't have to perform to be loved. The work for both of you is learning to read it that way and to build a plan together so this doesn't feel like a pattern that's about to break you. So let's make this practical. I've got 3 moves for you. Move 1, the re-entry ritual. The core problem is that you go straight from a full day of masking into your most important relationship with 0 buffer, running on empty, and you try to connect from that depleted state. So you need to build a transition, a decompression buffer between out there and with you. Even 10 or 15 minutes where you're allowed to do nothing and be no one. The car in the driveway before you come in, a shower, headphones and a closed door, stimming freely, having a snack in silence. And the crucial part, you name it ahead of time so it doesn't read as avoidance or withdrawal. When I get home, I need 15 quiet minutes to come back to myself before I can really be with you. It's not me avoiding you. It's me getting myself back. So there's actually a me here to be with you. You'll have more for them at minute 20 than you could possibly have at minute 0. Move 2, 1 unmask at a time. Don't try to drop the whole mask in one heroic, terrifying evening. Pick one true thing. Something small, something simple, something that has a very low barrier to entry. Let them see your hand stim. Or say one real sensory need out loud this week. Or answer one, what do you want honestly? Something as simple as, what do you want for a snack? Let that one thing be a moment of connection. Let it be something you do in service of the relationship and your own well-being. And then, when you're ready, add another. You're not flinging the door wide open. You're letting one person in one room at a time. And every time a small unmask goes okay, your nervous system files the evidence. Okay, here I don't have to perform. Here I'm safe. That evidence stacked up is so very valuable. Move 3. Tell them what your unmasking means. This is the one people skip, and it's the one that protects everything. When you start unmasking, your partner will see new things. More quiet, more stimming, more I can't right now, more needs being asked for. And if you don't tell them what it means, they'll fill in the blank themselves, and the blank they fill in may be, she's pulling away from me. So get ahead of it. If you see me getting quieter at home, I need you to read that as me addressing my own needs, not rejection. It means I feel safe enough with you to stop performing. That's me getting closer, not further away. One sentence rewrites the meaning of everything that follows. And to do this together, so the understanding goes both ways, you both need the same map. And that's what the free workbook is for, how to feel understood and loved. It gives you language for what's happening under the surface, and it gives your partner their own side to fill in. So when you say, I need quiet, they hear, she trusts me, not, oh wow, she's leaving. You can get it free at jennadalton.com/love map. That's jennadalton.com/love map. Okay, here's what I want you to take with you today. You've spent your whole life believing the performance was what everyone loves. The easy one, the agreeable one, the one who's totally fine and has it all together. And somewhere in there, you started to believe that the real you, the one who needs the quiet and the recovery and the lights off, that she was the burden, the version to keep hidden, even at home, especially at home. I need you to hear this. That's not true. The masked you is the one that costs you everything, and the research is clear about just how much. The real you is the one worth getting to know, little by little. And home, the place you share with the person you love and who loves you, is supposed to be the one place on earth you get to set the mask down and still be held, still feel like enough and not too much. You don't have to perform to be loved, not out there, and especially not in your own living room. Let one person in. Start small. Start this week. I'm Jenna Dalton. You deserve to feel truly understood and deeply loved as your unmasked self. I'll talk to you soon. Before we wrap up today, I just want to send a little note about sensitive content. This episode references the documented link between masking and mental health risk, including suicidality. And if any of this is hitting close to home for you, please reach out to a local crisis line or a professional you trust. You deserve support, not just strategies.